What if the first immortal human is already alive today? Think about it. Imagine there's a child right now, maybe 5 years old, living somewhere in the world. Maybe she's learning to ride a bike in Berlin. Maybe he's making friends in Lagos, or playing video games in Sao Paulo. Now, picture this, by the time that child is in their 30s or 40s, medical technology may have advanced so far that aging itself is slowed, stopped, or even reversed. That child may never have to grow old in the way we think of growing old today. Let's just sit with that idea for a moment. Immortality. It sounds like science fiction, something out of a novel or a blockbuster movie. But really, what does immortality mean in a scientific context? It doesn't mean invincibility. You could still get hit by a bus, but it means you wouldn't die simply because your cells, your DNA, wear out over time. Instead, the aging process itself could be halted or even undone, using advances in biotechnology, regenerative medicine, nanotechnology, and artificial intelligence. Now, for anyone listening in your mid to late 20s or early 30s, let me ask you, how old were you when the iPhone was invented? In 2007, most of us were teenagers or in college, and the idea that we'd carry the internet in our pockets, 24/7, probably seemed wild. Now it's normal. Just like that, the technology that seems impossible today may be our everyday reality tomorrow. So, what would it mean if the first immortal human is alive right now? First, it would be a profound shift, not only in medicine, but in the way we understand life and death. Imagine what you might choose to do, knowing you had centuries ahead of you. Would you study more languages? Would you try 10 different careers? Would you go back to school at 100 years old, bold enough to learn something totally new, without a deadline hanging over your head? But immortality, let's be clear, isn't just about having endless time. It's about redefining humanity's relationship with technology. Right now, we're on the brink of breakthroughs in fields like gene editing. Take CRISPR, for example. In the last decade, we've gone from basic gene splicing to editing specific genes for diseases. We're seeing early successes in fighting genetic disorders, certain cancers, and even in slowing some mechanisms of aging. Then there's artificial intelligence, the field accelerating all of this. AI is helping us decode complex biological systems faster than any human ever could. Imagine algorithms scanning through millions of medical studies in seconds or predicting how specific molecules interact in our bodies. Some experts believe, within a few decades, we'll reach the so-called longevity escape velocity. In simple terms, that's the point where every year you live, medical science extends your life by more than a year, keeping you perpetually ahead of the biological clock. Now, of course, this brings up the classic objections: wouldn't society change beyond recognition? What about overpopulation, or memory overload, or even, let's be honest, the risk of eternal boredom? These are real concerns, and they're already provoking vigorous debate. But with technological progress often comes powerful tools to address the downsides. Already, we're seeing trends of declining birth rates in highly advanced societies, even without immortality. We're developing VR, brain-computer interfaces, and AI-powered tools that could someday help us manage our own cognitive limits, storing, organizing, and recalling memories the way we search files in the cloud. But what about access? If these advances are real, will they only be available to the rich, or will they become democratized over time? Think back to how expensive computers, the internet, or smartphones used to be. Only the wealthy had access at first, but now nearly 3/4 of people on Earth have a smartphone. Human ingenuity and market demand often drive high-tech benefits to the masses, even if imperfectly. And the movement for technological democratization is only growing stronger. We have to demand an inclusive future, and that starts with conversations like this one. Here's where this question gets personal for us. Right now, in our late 20s and early 30s, we might be living through the most profound transition in human history. The choices we make today, what we advocate for, what skills we learn, how we support scientific research, how we build technological literacy in our communities, those all shape whether this future will be bright and fair or something that divides us further. For some, believing in the potential for radical lifespan extension is a leap, a matter of faith in human progress. For others, it's a dire warning, a chance to pause and reconsider what it means to be human. But wherever you stand, you can't ignore that the pace of scientific advances is accelerating. Each breakthrough builds on the last, often in ways we never expect. So, back to the question, what if the first immortal human is already alive today? Wouldn't that mean our responsibilities, in the classroom, in the laboratory, in government, and as citizens, are greater than ever? Wouldn't it mean we have to think differently about our lives, our legacies, and the world we want to build? Let's turn this into an opportunity, a chance to lead, learn, and shape the future together. Whether you're curious, skeptical, excited, or maybe a bit overwhelmed, this community is here to explore these topics with honesty and hope. If this conversation sparked new questions in your mind or challenged how you think about the future, subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey. You won't want to miss what comes next as we dive deeper into the issues, ideas, and technologies shaping the world for us, and perhaps for that first immortal human who may already walk among us. Thanks for listening, and let's create the future together.